is it saying that? Okay. Okay. So we are live now. Okay. Don't forget to go to What's Love Podcast Facebook page. Barry, you got it?
Yes, ma'am. I have it. I'm talking all that noise. Like, let me go over here and do it actually for real. Let me do it.
Okay, we're gonna go to it. There we go. Share it. I don't see it. Oh, here it is. I see it. Okay.
Found it.
Mm-hmm. I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Oh, let's take the sound off. All righty. Y'all good?
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
What's happening?
Hey.
What's happening, shoulder?
Huh?
I'm well.
You said what now, Barry?
I said, what's happening, shoulder? I'm good.
You know, my shoulder always has to make an appearance.
Kedra and her shoulder.
Hey, boo, I told you I'm single and I can do that. Your wife told me she's single too, but she still keeps her shoulder out. So
what? And she not lying either. Shoulder be all out. I'm like, that's where I get the tattoo idea from. Hers is right there. I'm like, all right.
That's what she said. I said, girl, I'm single. She was like, well, child, I'm married and I keep mine now. I said, right. I know that's right.
Shoulder all out.
Hey, happy Taco Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got margarita?
I do not have a margarita. I just have my water with my pineapple ice cubes and some cucumber.
Yeah, that's not the same, but okay.
It's a healthy margarita. Okay. All right, guys. We have a very great show tonight. We have some guests who I'm about to cue in just a second. All right. And yeah, okay, let's bring them on. Woo! Y'all gotta. So I was trying to figure out how to do like the whole
applause in the background. Yeah.
Here, so we're gonna have to clap it up for them. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Y'all ready, fellas? I think they look like they getting they hats together. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Woo! All right, we're going to welcome DUHVU, like DUHVU, but instead ooh at the end, DUHVU. Amere Thought and Speak Truth. And why don't y'all go ahead and really quick, and you can do it at the end too for the people that come on at the end, but where can we find y'all on Facebook, social media, all of that?
So you definitely can find us on DUHVU on Facebook, just DUHVU. And you can also find us same on Instagram as well, DUHVU. And you can also find us on YouTube, DUHVU TV, yeah. DUHVU TV.
That's what's up.
Cool. They come on. What days do y'all come on live?
So we have we have the Twin T's show. Don't be stupid. Act like you know. You heard. And that's on Motivational Mondays, What's Up Wednesdays, and Foolishness Fridays. Oh. So that's all right.
Foolishness Friday. That Foolishness Friday sound fun.
Listen, we just crazy. Really get into it. There's no taboo. All right, cool. There's no taboo.
Okay, I gotta check it out. Okay, go ahead, Keisha.
Cool. All right, so gentlemen, we always start our show off with just some affirmations. You know, we're talking about relationships here, and it is important to just affirm yourself every day, whether you single, whether you married, whether you complicated, whether, whatever situation. So we just give an affirmation. We just encourage everyone else to just affirm yourself every day. Don't wait for nobody else to do it. Okay. Erica, y'all want to start off?
Yeah, go ahead.
I started off.
Go ahead.
I tell myself
I am
every day
continuously evolving.
Okay.
I like that.
Continuously evolving. That's what's up.
Okay.
I like that. I tell myself that I am my imagination. So whatever I think I am, therefore I make sure I think what I am great.
That's good.
I make sure that what I've seen is what I now see.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. Barry?
I am good with who I am and who I'm becoming.
I like that.
Okay. And mine is don't let nobody box you in.
You got to say it with all the attitude. That's how your affirmation go, with the attitude. Don't let nobody box you in. All right.
Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and talk to yourself like that. Like, girl, you are tripping. Don't let nobody box you in. Am I lying?
I love it. Don't let them box you in. You ain't playing basketball. They ain't gonna put you in the post. Don't let them put you in the post.
That's right. You can't. And it comes with all that attitude, Barry.
I just asking. I was just I'm just trying to visualize. Like, are you in the mirror talking about, Keisha, don't let nobody box you in? Like, I'm just trying to see.
Okay. Absolutely. With all of that.
I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad at that.
That's what's up.
All right. If you are watching and if you have an affirmation, then go ahead and drop your affirmation in the What's Love podcast group on Facebook. We want to hear what you tell yourself every day too. Okay. All right. For those who are tuning in, go ahead and let us know who you are and where you are tuning in from. Go ahead and leave that in the comment box. Of course, we love to talk back with you during our show. So go ahead and let us know you're here. Did I say calling from? Let us know where you are watching from, okay? And just join us in on this conversation throughout the show. Leave all of your comments, questions, everything right over there in the comment box. Okay, guys. So if you go to the Facebook group, right?
All right.
Earlier, was it yesterday, today? I don't know. So I always feel like every time we post something in the group, right? It's like some people that have to chime in and be like, what about us men? Like, this is basically what they be saying. Barry, you don't hardly be over and you don't be joining us in the group, but Erica, you can attest to this. They be like, you say something about, it was the other day. When is the conversation going to be talking about telling a man how to treat a woman instead of telling a woman how to get a man or act or keep a man or choose, how to tell a woman how to choose a man, right? Or choose the right man, right? So of course, people chimed in or whatever. People always want to come and think that when you talk, when you're talking about history shows that we always try to teach women how to get a man, how to treat a man, how to be this for a man. You know what I'm saying? But I said, Barry, I see you fixing your face.
I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to listen. I got some fellas on here, so I'm ready.
But it's all good. We're ready for you.
Let me calm down. Okay?
But I don't necessarily always hear the conversation. Man, you wrong. You need to get your act together. 9 times out of 10 is, judgment on the female about, maybe you need to love yourself more, girl, because you attract what you are. Or maybe you choosing them wrong. Or maybe you need to take some time off to get to know yourself. But hardly the conversation, hey dog, man, you that was wrong. You wrong. You need to get your shit together. Okay, because it stank. We hardly see that conversation. Okay. What do y'all think about that? I know you ready, Barry.
I'm gonna let the guest go first. Let the guest go first. Let him, because
What do y'all think about that, guys?
So, and if I'm hearing you correctly, you're basically, why is the camera always on the female? Why is it not always on the male? Is what if I'm hearing you correctly. Right. I think that oftentimes that's society. It's a double-edged sword, because in one sense, you never really hear about the man really trying to be married. You hear about the woman trying to pursue. So when the conversation happens, or the cheating, quote unquote, happens, or something that goes wrong happens, you always kind of look at the woman, because the subconscious, or not saying that it's right, but the subconscious nature states that you wanted this, so you need to do something different. And I think that oftentimes it's not put on the man, because the man is rarely looked upon when it comes to dating like that. And I don't want to get too deep, but I will.
No, go ahead. We get deep.
Get deep. Please educate us. Go.
In my thought process, I think that oftentimes, if we deal with a couple things, men were never really taught how to deal with their emotions. Right. And when we talk about the problems that's going on with the woman, normally it's emotion based. Right. Well, if I don't really know how to control my emotions, or I don't even know how to deal with them, I always say it's kind of like explaining color to a man that was born blind. Like, where do we start? So when the conversation comes up, oh man, you need to do this, or oh man, you need to do that, or man, he doesn't do this, man, he doesn't do that. The conversation really, you don't really know where to start, because once you bullseye that man, then the emotion gates start to flood, and now he has to figure out insecurities about himself that he never knew he had. I mean, it could even get crazier, because it's like you have these emotions that as a child you were told to shun. You know, especially, I mean, men notice, like, you know, and we even on our show we talk about how, like, older, like when you, even a young dude, if he around older guys and he hit it, so he bump his arm and I tighten up, punch him in the tighten up. Come on now, right. Stop all that crying. I'm ready. Now back up. Like, come on, baby, get some. So I have these emotions that, you know, that I have, and I don't know what to do with them. And I'm told as a child that it's almost like they're wrong. So when I get older and a woman is trying to express her emotional side to me, I mean, I don't know what to do with this. And then finally I'm able to break that down. Now I got these tears coming up, but I'm it's a catch-22, because I want to let them out, but I was always told by somebody I respected, you know, somebody I respect, that raised me. Like, this ain't no fly-by-night dude. No, I respect this dude. He helped me go through some stuff. He told me that this makes me look in a different way. So now I got the natural side of me, but then I got the subconscious side of me saying this. So I war. So the other thing I do is I run, either fight or flight. Either I fight it, or, you know what, this ain't for me. You know, honestly, she just doing too much for me. So I gotta get out of here. I gotta, you know, maybe, and then that's when the lines come out, like the whole, oh, it's not you, it's me. I didn't know.
I hate that line. Because that's such a cop-out.
It is. And honestly, I think that most guys don't know. Like, if you ever ask a guy, guys think logically. And if I'm going too long, y'all let me know.
Go ahead, you good.
Guys think logically, women think emotionally, and it's just the way it is. Like a guy, especially when it comes to the topic of sex, which a lot of people cheat on, and it's a huge topic that's rarely talked about. I think that men think it's kind of like a gas station. Like, if I want this from her, well, if I'm driving in a car, can I say? Go ahead. So I love this example. I heard the great late great Miles Monroe say this. He gave this example one time, and I never forgot.
You said Miles Monroe?
Mm-hmm. Miles Monroe. He came to either it was a seminar he was doing, or he came to Faith Christian Center. One of the two. I don't remember. But I watched him since I was a child, so I knew about it. Right. But he had used this example, and it never hit home till I got married. Exactly. He's back. So he said you have to understand men and women. He said he was talking about the of a man and woman. He said, now, men don't want sex. I mean, just because the conversation sheet came up, men don't want sex, they need sex. You know, I mean, just the science of a man. They build up, I don't know how many billion sperm. I think it's about 8 billion, but don't quote me on that. But we did the science of it because I like to research. So we did it. They need to, about 3 days is when they need to release it. If they don't release it, they have what's called a man period, or
like
this a man. Yeah, you like they're.
I know, man. They have that every day.
Yeah.
Every single day be on their doggone period. I be looking like, ain't I the female here? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Listen, it's real. Like after a while, you be strong like a bull. You just a chick. It was a chick who did a study on it. I forgot. Me and my wife I was reading it too. My wife was like, she said, to me, it's like women sometimes look at sex is like a dessert in some cases. Like hey, it's been a minute less. And before you get on that, and if we can, sometimes we have to we're talking about the makeup of a man and a woman, and I think that oftentimes society gets it twisted on need and want. Right. I think that most people don't understand what a man needs. They think he wants it, and men don't understand what a woman needs. Right. They think she wants it. A study was done where they said
we know you need it, TJ. We know you need it. We need a whole nother show.
That's not even what I was referring to. But anyways, I'm sorry, guys.
I love it. I love it. A study was done about what a man wants and what a man needs, and they gave the analogy of a car, and they said that even in a human body, they said if you're driving your car, the car needs gas. Right. We understand if it gets on E, it needs gas. Well, when we're running and we're exhausted, we need water. So they were stating that if you, like Miles Monroe said, he said, so the dude driving his car, and he go to this famous gas station every time. He go to it right by his house. He drive, he go to it. He see the gas station, but for one reason or another, the light is not on. So he, I don't know what that's about. Mm-hmm. So his light is on, but he really liked this gas station. He's loyal to this gas station. It's the gas station he go to every day. As a matter of fact, it's a part of his routine. Come on. So he drives by. He look at his gas light. It'll be okay. And I go home. So the next day he driving. He look up to pass again. Subconsciously, he look, he drive. Oh, let me go get some gas because my light is still on. He gauged how long he can make it or whatever not. So then he see it and the light is still off again. Now he kind of he bothered a little bit. He don't really know what to do, but he said, "What's up?" Now take in mind, down the street, there's this. Say for example, this gas station is Texaco, BP. We'll say BP. But down the street, the Texaco has always been there. Their light has always been on. He's still driving. Then he drive. Now his light is like the old people say, his gas light is blinding him because it's so bright. So now he know he need to get gas, but the light is off. So he look in the door, he upset, he frustrated, he don't know what to do because where I always go, come on, when I need a refill, it's closed for whatever reason. And there was no warning when it came. It wasn't no, hey, just to let y'all boys know, a little white sign on the door, we ain't gonna be open. It's just closed. Like, I don't know what that's. So now, let me just go down here and go to this Texaco. And then he go to the Texaco. Then when he driving back by, the light, he see the light on. And then when he drive, they say, oh, and the BP gas station, I want to say, I seen how you went down to the Texaco. Wait a minute, what? Where were you the whole time? Nah, I can't even. Matter of fact, you know what? You stay over there at the Texaco. That's where you need to be. As a matter of fact, we don't want your business no more. You stay way down there. And he's frustrated. He's upset because, and a lot of times, and I felt that example was so powerful because it's like that describes marriage a lot of times because of the misunderstanding of want and need. Women, I was telling my wife that, like, women think a lot of times sex is, it's brought. It's social media. It's brought that, women sex is just something that is posterized. Like you got the girls with the lingerie on, whatever case being, and so you think because of that, that's something that you're supposed to have, or it's not a need. And so even when a woman wants to be all lovey-dovey, it's so televised that it's not a need, but both parties need it. So they went on to say, if I can, they went on to talk about what women want, what women need, what men want, what women need. They talked about the ego. Men need their ego stroked because men are little boys at heart. They're just little boys. That's why if you have a son and you tell him, hey, and he jump off the couch and you say, look at my little boy, look what he's doing. He'll be like, oh, that's nothing. mommy, watch this. And then you have to be careful how you stroke his ego because he'll jump off the roof. Well, men are the same way. They need their ego.
And they will jump off the roof.
they literally will jump because men need their ego stroked. And I think oftentimes because some women don't know that, or it's about 3 of them. I'm not gonna get into all of them because I gotta let y'all talk because I don't want to be too long-winded.
No,
but one of them was that.
Oh, do your thing, man.
Mary is very happy that y'all are here.
Right.
One taking up all the talk time. No, I'm just saying, Mary.
I do.
Mary is the one like, I hope I'm not talking too much.
Right.
Like, go ahead, Mary.
Well, and I hope we. But are we still on the same? I hope we didn't get too far off subject.
No, I mean we good. This is what we do anyway. Like
Right.
we may start over here and end up over here. It's all part of having conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all are good. It's having conversation.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So interestingly,
go
ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right. So interestingly, like I agree with all of that, man, and I appreciate that perspective. I think it's spot on. But for me, I'm actually taking the other lens on the other side of the coin, where as I believe everybody is accountable. So, Keija, when you started off presenting the question, you said, well, women get faulted because it's like, well, this is who you selected. This is your selection process. Now, when we started out tonight's show, we do our affirmations. We all of us on here right now believe in affirmation, creativity, bringing our imagination into existence. So if we all say we believe that, how can you now say, well, who I brought into my life, I'm not responsible for that? You see what I'm saying? So for me, I'm like, well, if we are creators of our very existence, whether it be our income, what you brothers is doing is amazing. You're like, hey, we creating this platform, what we're doing with the podcast. Everybody has creativity, imagination, visions. It's like, well, I'm developing and I'm creating, I'm building, I'm doing all these different things to manifest. So now, is the dude wrong? The dude is wrong. But what I am saying is you are still accountable for who you bring in your life. So I think it's but
I will agree with that. But what we're not accountable for is how they act while they're in our life. And the things they do.
But that's the dude you brought in your life. You brought a dude in your life who act like that.
And you know what? I'm gonna be accountable for letting him go too.
So, and I think I've said. So I think that's the bigger thing, man. Like literally, us developing who we are as individuals, and our selection process, our spirit of discernment, like vibing out people, vetting people, especially when we talk about being in relationships. So Will Smith has this saying, the video where he says, well, it may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. And that just rings loud with me. So how he act, what he does not do, all of that is not your fault, but it's your responsibility in terms of healing, not allowing that to keep up, to endure in your relationship. So that's the perspective. Because I don't want people to, for me, I think accountability is one. Like that's right off the bat. Like, so if you're going to wait around for somebody to act right and him to get emotionally intelligent and grow up and do all this stuff, and you just waiting on that, I'm like, you don't know how long that's going to take. So I think it's your responsibility to tighten up and do what you have to do.
Listen, I have wasted too much time on waiting for somebody to tighten up.
Right. So you need to do better on your selection process.
Yeah.
What I think, I mean, a lot of times we say a lot of times in our show that you only meet yourself. And like we're believe it or not, everybody think the doctor was drunk, but we're fraternal twins. And,
okay.
And so and oftentimes, like I always use this example where you only meet yourself. And sometimes because when people say, well, no, they'll look at the thing that they despise as it being an identical twin. Well, he does this and I don't do that. So that's not me. So I always use the example of my wife. So my wife, she don't like me to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
You gonna say it anyway?
My wife is OCD. My wife is OCD. If she says she's not, but my wife eat her burger in a circle. And her logic behind it is that if you bite it, each piece will have meat on it at the same portion of the same. He said, "Baby, that's not OCD. That just makes sense." No, my wife like if you have to squeeze the toothpaste from the back. You have to have
Yes.
If it's off a little bit, and I say, "Baby, that's a little OCD." She say, "No, it's not. It just makes sense, well, baby."
It makes sense. Yeah.
And so it's like, but to me, it's like, everything has to be a certain way. If it's not, it's not. So me, I was like, that aggravates me. That makes me mad. I don't understand it. But then I found out, I met myself. Well, I'm not. I said, well, I'm not OCD. When I first heard this, I was like, well, I'm not OCD. I don't do that. That's not what I do. But then I realized that when I'm having conversations with a person, I literally watch them and can tell you exactly, no, you didn't say that. Me and my wife would get in arguments because I said, baby, no, you didn't say that. You said this. And when it's this bad. You didn't say that. When you said it, your arm was right here. Your head had turned when you said no. And then you blinked your eyes and you rolled them. And when you did that, I stood up and I said, my hands did just like this. No, that's not true. You don't remember that? And I caught myself like, oh shoot, I'm doing the same thing. I'm everything has to be. And then I saw what pay attention to how I'm OCD as far as like my tag name, speak the truth. Hat, shirt, and shoes, everything got to match. If it don't match, Amere Thought. If it don't match, it's not me. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm OCD. I'm doing the same thing but if I looked at it as identical twins, then I missed it. But if I realized that, wait a minute, I'm doing the same thing I don't like, so I met myself and I married myself because that's just what you do.
I agree.
Well, the logic behind you only meet yourself, it's more of a subconscious thing. You want to always think about wherever you are in your life. When you start to date, your subconscious conversation that you're having with yourself is going to reflect in your relationship and who you draw. And whoever you talk to, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your children. If you can name it, whatever you don't like, if you can name it, then it's your problem. That's correct. Because if that person never changes it, it will never affect them. But if they never changed it, if it'll affect you, if they never change it, then the problem lies with you. And I think oftentimes what people are frustrated with their mates because when they actually meet the person of the consciousness that they're in at that moment, then they're kind of like, oh man, I don't like that about you. But notice when they reflect and put the mirror on themselves, they outgrow that person. That person no longer feels comfortable with them because they outgrew that self, that person that they once was, they outgrew them. And that person that's still there can no longer hang around you.
That's good stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. That's good stuff. Okay, so I think that's a good segue into our topic of the day. And that is why do you want to get married? And how do you know that you are ready to get married?
We laughed about this.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3 married people on here. I'm gonna ask y'all, how did you know you were ready to get married?
Go ahead, Ms. Erica. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, Erica, you were married. How did you? Everybody on here has been married except for me. So how did y'all know y'all were ready to get married? Anybody?
Me, it was. I'll go first, and then I want to hear from the guys. I'll go first. For me, both times it was not necessarily that I was ready to get married, right, but I kind of felt some pressure to get married. I was young when I got married the first time. I was 19, and I got married 8 weeks after I had my son. So it was a matter of, oh well, you had a baby, so you need to go ahead and get married. And in my opinion, that was not great advice. It just happened that, in order to, in what I thought was kind of having some stabilization in my life, it made things worse for me during that period that I got married. I think I would have done better if I hadn't gotten married. But in the course of events, you know, I kind of like, I don't have regrets because there's all kind of lessons that I learned throughout my life. The second time, again, people were like, oh, well, y'all been together a long time and y'all look good together. And that was a big thing that I really should have paid closer attention to, is people kept saying, y'all look good together. And I was like, but are we good together? And I questioned it even until we got married. And, you know, I was having all the feelings and I was in love and everything else. And I was like, you know, I was like, well, maybe we should get married. And I think we both kind of gave into that pressure of, well, maybe we should get married. And it was okay for the first few years. I was like, I want to see how this goes and create a household. And we had a blended family and try and make it work. And it just got to the place where, because that foundation wasn't there, the house slowly began to crumble. So and even now, it's been 10 years since I got divorced. I can't even say right now that I'm really ready to get married, but we've talked about that before. I'm kind of enjoying having my empty house, having everything on my own terms for now. Now, does that mean I'll never get married again? No, I would love to get married again. I'm just not in really any hurry. There's a lot of things that I would like to do. But I think now, if the right person were to appear in my life, I have a much better idea of who I am, for one, and what I'm looking for. And I think that even with me being in this season of not necessarily looking for a date or looking to get married or anything like that, if the right person were to approach me, I believe that I would recognize that, because I have a better idea of what I want, what I'm looking for.
Yeah, instead of trying to make somebody the right person.
Right.
That's real.
Oh, I don't understand that.
That's real. Fire.
Twins, how did y'all know y'all were ready to get married?
Mine was a little different. This is my last time getting married. Come on. But I was a divorcee. Can I say that? Is that the correct verbiage? The first time I just wanted to be married. And the very first time it was like, you know, it seemed right. It was pressure there. I wasn't prepared. I liked the idea of how marriage sounds more than, is this partner going to be with me for life? And, you know, the second time around, you know, I was young as well, but the second time I had done everything the right way. If our past, we talked about, we were virgins until we got married. So my wife was my first. I got married when I was 27. And my wife was my first. So I did everything by the book. I didn't smoke, I didn't drink. So in my mind, I thought that, you know, now is the time to get married. This is what you do. And I realized that it wasn't the time, you know, but I think that me being in a relationship with my first wife helped me appreciate my last wife. I knew I was ready to get married because I wasn't ready to get married. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have everything down packed. I just knew that I made a decision that this was going to be my life partner. Hell or high water, whatever that looks like, I knew that I could stand the rain, as Boys to Men and New Edition said. Worst the first. I knew that no matter what, this person fights for me how I fight for them. We understood what she wanted in a marriage, and I understood what I wanted in a marriage. And it wasn't just what I wanted. The first time it was what I wanted. And I never got a chance to ask her, or she never told me what she wanted. We just kind of meshed together and hope it happened. This time we actually talked about, this is what a good marriage looks like to me. Right. What does a good marriage look like to you? Right. And she told me, and we didn't agree. Right. So then I had to work it out. Now I have to compromise, where I don't like that you said, but I'll compromise here. And when I knew that I had a partner that would compromise with me while still allowing me to be me, then I knew it was okay to say I do want to be with this person for the rest of my life. Mine was more or less like you said, with with the whole virgin thing. How do you know when you're ready to be married? When you don't have an agenda. Marriage is, in my opinion, marriage is something that you can plan for, but in the same breath, it's something that you can't really predict. Like, oh, it's gonna be like this, it's gonna be like that, it's gonna be like that. Is a lie. That is the biggest lie. And no knock to the Christian faith, but a lot of times in quote unquote religion, in the Christian faith, it's always the pressure to get married. Like, like you say, like Erica, like you said, mama, you've been dating for a minute. This person is saved, you saved. Y'all should get together. If what the Bible say, it's better to marry than to burn. All this, stuff that you get. So it's like low key, you're pressured into, like, saying, go and get y'all. When y'all gonna get married? Y'all been dating for 3 months. So y'all, especially in the Christian faith, it's like y'all been dating for like 6 months. Y'all been dating for like how long y'all gonna wait? Like it's an expiration date on dating. And I'm not understanding that dating is we used to say the burial grounds for marriage, meaning you dying to yourself and you're becoming one. So a lot of times, with me personally, when I got married, like I because we were our history was, we did a lot of touring, we performed, all that type of stuff. So when it came to, all I was taught in my mind is I wasn't ready to get married early. My brother was. He was like, he gonna get married. He gonna have a daughter named Jaslyn. We said a long time ago. I said, I'm not ready to get married. I love the limelight too much. So I'm gonna be, I'm gonna keep doing this or whatever, So then I felt like when I get a wife, she is just supposed to be arm candy. I played myself. And when I got me
play yourself.
I said she's supposed to be arm candy. I didn't listen because I was so knowledgeable in the things that I knew. I knew the things of God. I knew a lot, but I didn't know enough. Come on, I didn't know enough. So when I got married, her opinion, not even on those chauvinistic stuff, but it's like even when we were dating, my conversation and her conversation, it was like I was low-key teaching her. Now, not once that I think because I'm a little older, so I know stuff. It's the fact that I have this, I'm teaching you how to be, whatever the case be. So subconsciously, her opinion didn't matter. Her opinion did not matter. And because it didn't matter, subconsciously, she didn't matter. So it's like you were just there. You were a pretty face on my arm. That's what you're. So even though come on, we 9 years in this thing, I'm really realizing that just now, like maybe I say 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I'm allowing to see, wow, I have an intelligent wife. Because that wasn't your job. Come on, we are realists. So your job, in my opinion, or how I've been taught was, you're there to assist me. I mistake the term helpmate to be mate when I need help. And assist. Yeah, you're there. You're at my beck and call. You're my secretary. If I need you to do it, you get that done. And I shouldn't have to. Why do I find myself saying the same thing a couple of times? Like, but what are we doing right now? I shouldn't have to tell you. You should already know this because this is what a helpmate was, or so I thought. I played myself.
Where did you get this? Where did you get this notion, this definition?
Well, because how I was raised was like having a helpmate was like somebody where the woman was there to help the man. So it wasn't. Now I wasn't taught that not that we was on some chauvinistic like you beneath me and you nothing. No, it wasn't that. It was just the fact that I don't really need you. I took the mentality of a man take care of everything, literally. So you really don't matter in this. I'm supposed to do everything by myself. And that was the term of helpmate. Like, no. Y'all supposed to share the burden. It was like, nah, I'll carry it out by myself, but all I need you to do is what I told you to do. And I think that oftentimes that happens to a lot of guys where we think that a helpmate supposed to be you're a mate that gives me help when I ask. Right. But what they don't understand is that the woman is the subconscious nature of a man. She helps you because she's the emotional side of you. Right. There was a study done about that men are a woman's consciousness. and men are I'm sorry, men are women's consciousness and women are men's subconscious. They with the emotions, they help with these things. The things that he needed help with, she was there to help him, but he didn't know how to allow her to do it. I was never taught that way. So fast forward, it's a couple of things that you said, Erica, that was powerful in my opinion. You said, now I know what I want. A lot of times in marriage, people don't know what they want. They focus on getting married. They focus on the wedding. They focus on what you think you want. Not that, hey, you do understand that it's not what you think. It's not on TV. It's not what you see on TV. A pastor said this to me one time. And I never understood this when he said this. He said, until I got older, he said, what do you do when the kitchen closes? When she say, nah, I'm tired. I don't want it. Not tonight. I'm tired. Now, two things gonna happen to you because the kitchen closed. It's closed. It's closed tonight. The sign is up. It's closed. But you're built up. You want to have sex, but she's not there for whatever reason because it's emotion. She can't just put it on the stand and say go at it. It's connected, and the kitchen is closed. So now what do? Well, the two things gonna happen. Either one thing gonna happen. The first thing gonna happen is you either gonna what? You're going to go do what you used to do, or you go make a phone call, or you're gonna have to do what marriage says do and just be loyal to the fact that I'm a sit. So I said that to say that a lot of times with me becoming in marriage and understanding what marriage was, I didn't know what marriage was or when to get married. But now I feel like I was ready. I can say, and it's crazy to say, but in 10 years or in 9 years of marriage, I was ready to marry I was ready to get married in these last two.
Wow. I'm surprised she stayed with you. I mean, I don't know your wife, but I'm surprised she stayed with you for those 7 with your mindset like that. You know what I'm saying?
You'd have been gone, Keisha.
What?
You'd have been gone, Keisha.
Listen. I'm like, what? I'm supposed to do what? I'm supposed to do how? When? Oh boy, you tripping. I would have been deuces.
Like I knew how to word my words, even though they were like I would just say I knew how to not demean you, but make you reflect it like it's on you. Like you didn't know that, but I wouldn't say it like you didn't know that. It would be like so. But how I would have our conversation.
You one of them dangerous ones. You the type that'll mess a whole woman's life up doing that mess. I've dealt with one like that before. A couple.
You don't even know you're doing it until I had to do a self-evaluation. It was like, wow. And my wife told me one time, you make me feel like I'm not intelligent.
What brought you to do a self-evaluation of that?
Well, I'm majority of my life, how we were raised is there is no one way in a sense. If you're wrong, own your truth. Right? We were raised like that. Own your truth. So a lot of times in my marriage, I'm figuring out as I'm going, but I never was stuck in like this is the way. Even though I was raised that way, it was like had the mentality that I got that way. I wasn't gonna say that this is the only way to do it. Like I'm not gonna do that. So even in our marriage right now, I get like a quote unquote revelation, and I come to her and say, baby, you know what I just realized? I do this, such. And even though she said it 1,000,000 times, the light never clicked on me. And sometimes I come to my brother and say, I feel like this, I feel like leaving. I feel like doing this. I feel like doing that. I feel like doing this. I know it's emotions. So I would talk the emotions out. Like, this, I know I'm not going to do it, but I have to deal with the emotion or I'll play myself. So I'm having a conversation with myself, and then I'm realizing, God showed me a lot of stuff, and I'm having a conversation. It's like, dang, that's me. Like, that's me. And once I came to the understanding that the thing that you don't like is you, that kind of, I was like, she's not showing me enough affection. That means I'm not showing her any. And I saw, and then when I did a true story, I literally did an experiment without her knowing. I started to overly show her affection, with not expecting anything to see if this was really true. And all of a sudden, I would watch her switch without even trying. Like she'd just be walking, and how somebody like it's almost like schizophrenia when they go and they just turn back. Like it'll happen, and I watch it. I'd be like, wow, it works. And I'd make a mental note. She'd be like, yeah, you just want to go get something to eat right now? And I'd be like, it really works. But I said, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and go. But it works. You give what you get, and if you're not getting it, it's because you're not giving it. I think that oftentimes most of the times people like the old saying goes, when you're tired of being sick and tired. And I think that people want more in relationships. You want more. You want your mate to be there for you. You want to be there for your mate. Nobody wants to get in a relationship and hurt their mate, because at one time you loved each other. No, I don't want to say that. At one time you were infatuated, because we understand that love is a decision. So you were infatuated, where you thought of them all the time and you wanted to be around them. That was your heart. But without communication, you don't know how to say that. You don't know how to deal with those things. And I think that oftentimes with Amere, he never knew what he was doing. He never had that self-evaluation. He never looked at himself. In his mind, he was right, because his mindset was, I have a goal to get there, and I don't care about who I have to run through to get to it, not knowing that he had help the whole time.
And a lot of things also, I because we were virgins, because we quote unquote, people used to say, oh, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't do none of that, the quote unquote big sins that everybody say, oh, was right, and I was a virgin. I thought that because if I'm right in this area and I'm doing right, I must be the creme de la creme, the Magna Carta, and I played myself. And it was like, no, you're not as fresh as you think you are. You're not as smart as you think you are. And what you're doing is you're hurting yourself and her at the same time with the mentality that you think you have.
How old are you guys?
36.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm gathering is, number one, this is a takeaway. This is one of the takeaways that I got. How do you know that you are ready to get married? When you are two takeaways. When you are ready to die to yourself,
Right.
and when you are ready to give so that you can, not so that you can get, but understanding that you give what you get what you give.
Right. Yeah. You only meet yourself.
Okay. Because I'm the only one on here that's never been married before. All y'all been married before, buried married. You know what I'm saying? So this is all learning for me. Okay.
So you taking notes, right?
You said what?
You taking notes, right?
Mental notes. That's why I did. You know what I'm saying? That's why I went into the teacher mode and summarized. You know what I'm saying? My takeaways. So, Barry, how did you know that you were ready to get married?
I didn't know.
Like
real talk. I mean, Melissa and I got married as kids. I mean, we were like 19 and 20. So having a real, understanding of what marriage is all about, a range of relativity, like
what is marriage all about? What is it all about? I said, what is it all about? What is marriage all about?
What this fellow's saying, I mean, having a die to self, these are principles of relationships, like literally being able to sow and reap, to deposit and then withdraw, making sure that you're with somebody that you want to give and serve to. Like oftentimes it's the other way around. We're like, well, what can they do for me? How do they make me feel? Which we don't want to negate that, because that's important. But if there's when those things are no longer in existence, for whatever reason, are you still going to love? Are you still going to choose to love? Are you going to still choose to be committed to that person? If they're not making you feel infatuated with them, if they're not, so because doing this for the long term, over a course of a lifetime, you go through peaks and valleys. People change. One of the fellows mentioned earlier, as your partner growing, are you growing with them? How do you deal with the transitions of life, losing jobs, having kids, losing a loved one, losing a parent? Like there's so many events that go throughout our lives that you have to be ready to do them with somebody else. So some of the stuff you learn along the way, but when you ask the question, like, how do you know when you're ready? One of the things that I have learned in 21 years of marriage, this month, we'll be married 21 years. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it, man. 21 years, May 19th.
Yes.
You have to be whole. Like, so when Melissa and I went through our difficult time, Dr. Miles Monroe has a book that's called it's like Divorced, Single, and Married. I'm messing up the title, but it's along those lines. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So one of the messages or the principle he's wanting you to get from the book is being whole, being a whole single person. So what happens is oftentimes we're looking for people to complete us versus complement us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're already in a deficit as an individual, not saying we don't have struggles, insecurities, inferiorities, flaws, but if you're not at a healthy place with those things, it's difficult to add someone else into your life. So the days that you're feeling insecure with your spouse, do you want them to minister to that? Absolutely. But if you are in a dysfunctional place as an individual, you're going to spew that energy and that behavior onto somebody else. And then what we're saying is the whole reaping and sowing. So if you selfish, if you antagonistic, or if you giving a bunch of negative energy back, it's hard for somebody to give you positive energy. You know what I mean? So again, you have to be whole and healthy. So when Melissa and I got married, I mean, we were kids. We are two individuals that are truly blessed. Not that, I mean, we got flaws, we got mistakes. We've been almost divorced, but we are two individuals that match each other in terms of, we believe in marriage. We believe in putting in the work, because there are times that she's wanted to call it quits and I've had to carry us. There's times that I've wanted to call it quits and she's carried us. So, I've met somebody, I've attracted to me, even as a young dude, somebody who's willing to fight in marriage. So, and I won't even say it was a conscious thing at that young age, but I attracted a person to me that was like, we want to do our absolute best. We're not perfect, so let's put that out there in the world. But we're going to do our absolute best to try to do this thing right. So
there's a thin line between, because for me, I always say I'll give up the deuces. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's a thin line between, when you said that it's been times when you've had to carry the marriage, it's been times when she's had to carry the marriage.
Right.
And to me, that just it just seemed like a thin line, because if I feel like I'm not getting what I'm giving, or if I feel like that I'm being treated like an option, or if I feel like, I'm just not being treated how I feel like I should be treated, because I am whole, I am happy. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm ready to be like, deuces.
I get it.
And so I wonder if I were to get into a marriage, if I would have that same mentality. I'm like, I ain't got to deal with this shit. I was good when I was single. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very, very thin line to endure some BS.
So
I ain't got to deal with this.
So check this, teacher. Everything, you have to frame it differently. And I'm not saying lie to yourself, but I am saying it's about what lens we look through. So for me, being with Melissa so I can look off into the future. All right, there's going to be a day that, whether it's the rapture or whether I'm on my deathbed, I want Melissa there. You know what I'm saying? I want her there. Holding my hand if I'm in a sick bed. When I have grandkids, I want all of what's good in her to be, deposited into my kids, into our grandkids, and vice versa. So what I'm getting at is my vision and my frame of marriage. allows me to endure the times that aren't so good. So for me, I actually use a lot of analogies of other things, whether like, so here we are, we started a podcast. It's going to be met with a bunch of adversity. Like, so relationships aren't going to go well. Trying to build the audience, like all the things to have a successful whatever, to manifest something successful, you have to endure that. So depending on how meaningful it is, how bad you want it, that will determine whether or not you're going to endure and go through. So everybody like, hey, I want to lose weight. Well, how bad you want to lose weight? Like, I want my marriage badly. Like, I want to be with Melissa. It's not I'm desperate. I need her to complete me. But I found somebody that I want to do life with. So I'm like, hey. And then the last thing, and I'll shut up. So Keidra, again, how you frame things, like if you look at people like they're the flawed one, is of course you're gonna quit on them. But if you understand, there are days when you're not feeling it, like so that's when them days that you're like, yo, I ain't feeling you. I'm the one that's being antagonistic. I'm the one that's withholding love. I'm the one that's all in my emotions. When you can allow somebody grace, understanding that you just as flawed, then it allows you to be like, all right, it's just their day. It's just their day. But if you sit on your pedestal, like okay, they're not doing what they need to do, and they're not loving me, or they're not depositing into me as though you do it all the time, and that you won't point, oh yeah, you're not going to be married long.
So again, so let me ask you this. Again, it's a thin line. In the pre-marriage stage, how much do you put up with? Because go ahead.
I'll let the fellas get
Okay,
it.
so
I told them, go ahead. How much do you put up with in the pre-marriage stage? Because y'all talking about marriage. I ain't even married yet. So at this point, I'm like, no. I could be better single and by myself. So how much do you put up with? How much do you endure in the pre-marriage stage part?
So a couple things. We talked about something earlier about.
Hold on. Because you teach people how to treat you.
Right.
Okay. So with that in mind, how much do you allow yourself to endure?
Now remember, some conversations are said and some conversations are not said.
Act it out.
Because you can tell a person, you can teach a person, you can say something, like you could tell your kids, don't curse around the house. But when somebody make you mad, you curse in front of them, you just gave 2 lessons, right? So your heart is that you don't want your kid, what you meant to say is you're telling your kids, I would prefer you not to curse until you're an adult, but you definitely can't curse under my roof. Well, when you're in a relationship, it's that same thing. You do teach people how to treat you, but sometimes you do it in 2 ways. Let's just like Barry said, which was great. If you're not feeling your best, you have a nasty attitude, you just don't feel like being bothered. Now, what do you want me to do in that moment? Because if you have the thought process of you normally go off on me when you're not feeling it, then you're teaching me subconsciously to go off on you.
Right.
The only difference, and now where we are, is we're at who can take it and who can't.
Right.
Because if you're tough and you can't take me giving it to you the exact same way, now you're gonna feel unappreciated.
Right.
But if I show you, well, wait a minute, before you get upset with me, you were doing the exact same thing to me. So you can give it and you can't take it. I think that you said something so powerful. You said something so powerful in the beginning, because I said you only meet yourself. I think I have to be careful of. I'm dying to that thought process that, deuces. When I got divorced, I had this conversation with my wife last night, sitting in the bed, and I came out, and I'm being transparent. I said, I'm not fighting for nobody. So it was exactly what you said. That was a confirmation of what you said. I said, I'm not fighting for nobody, because of the simple fact that, if you want to go, you go. I'm not fighting for nobody. But then I had to turn that mirror on me. And I had to realize it was trauma there. But what was that trauma? In my relationship, nothing bad against my ex-wife. When you're hurt people. So when you're when you're both in a negative spot, you do things that you just don't, that you're not proud of. And you know, at that time we were divorcing, we didn't know what we were going through, we were young, we were immature at the time. So it felt like we have 2 kids, and it felt like she was keeping my kids away from me. And I didn't know what to do in that moment. So I felt like I did everything by the book. Like you said, I felt like I showed her how to treat me. And not thinking nothing about her, I just felt like I told her how to treat me. So I felt I had to deal. Sometimes you have to deal with your trauma,
Right.
and sometimes you have to go back. When you put that mirror on yourself, you pay attention to trauma. Rejection could be there when you're ready to go, because I'm afraid of giving my all and being rejected. You're not going to be able to accept me. So,
Right.
but it's never that person, because you have to turn that mirror. You don't accept you.
That's good.
If you don't accept you, you can't teach me how to accept you.
Wait, hold on. Let me stop you right there. I get it. I like the podcast and everything. What you trying to say? What you mean? I don't accept me. Like,
If you're going through something that you're going through, and if you keep blaming me, like, oh, it's your reason, you're the reason why I'm doing this, your reason, you're the reason, eventually everybody can't be wrong.
So what you saying? So I mean, it could be just this one time, like, you know, like, I mean, I do see a recurring pattern where I'm dating somebody, and then they start to do the date. Always start around this certain time. They start doing the same stupid thing, and I be like, I got more pride, and I got more self-esteem than to sit here and let you talk to me that way. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, listen, if you gonna do, I'm gonna let you go like I let the last, but boop, bye, boop, bye, boop. I'm not gonna. I ain't saying take it. You know what I'm supposed to say? You saying I'm supposed to just sit here and take it? That's what you're saying?
No, what I'm telling you is, I'm telling you to reverse it. Look at yourself, because if you can name it every time, every person, you can know when that time is coming, then it's not the other people, it's you.
So what you're trying to say? I'm drawing the people that I keep running to. That's what you're trying to say?
Because you're
comfortable. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Something about you makes those type of people comfortable. If people
Absolutely.
are always doing you wrong, something about you, they're comfortable around. We joke.
Right.
Some people don't feel comfortable cursing around pastors, even though they curse, because there's something inside of that pastor that you can't relate to curse around. Does that make sense? So if somebody is always coming and hurting you, there's something inside of you that you haven't dealt with, and they feel comfortable, so they're going to keep coming around you. But when you address that thing, you just don't. I can't deal with stank smells, because there's something about me that don't agree with stank smells. So people that are stank, they don't come in my facility.
They can't.
But if I don't address my trauma, what is my trauma? The trauma is the fact that I don't like not being in control. Come on. I don't like the fact that I don't know what you're going to do. I can't control it. I have to give my all and expect, as my wife said, put all my eggs in one basket. And I know that I can find somebody else, but I have to trust you enough to know that you're not going to do me wrong.
I struggle myself with. I struggle with like he wanted, like I said, he wanted to get married. I didn't want to get married. I'm a Chris Brown deuces. Listen quickly, and because my conversation, watch this. My greatest fear happened, because you're gonna have to face that reality one way or another.
Yes.
And my greatest fear was when the dude said he said, "What you do when the kitchen is closed?" And I used to be like, I was single when I heard him say that, and I was like, "What you mean? What do you mean the kitchen is closed? Like, she don't want to have sex. That's not what she want to do. She's not feeling it, and she doesn't want to do it.
She's not a robot.
She's not a robot." But I didn't know that part. She's not a robot. She don't want to have sex. So is she hurt? No, she just don't feel it. There's nothing happening that night, or maybe the next 3 nights, because she's just not feeling it. She's tired. She has a day, and it's like, what do I do if I'm locked in a relationship and she don't want to do it? And
we had this conversation. This was our conversation last week. This was last week's conversation. What do you do when, or should your wife feel obligated to have sex with you if she don't want to that night, that week?
And it's like, what should she? No, so here's where it's at.
No,
I think the conversation needs to happen, that which goes back to want and need. We have to deal with that.
One of the things that women,
where's the lie? Where does the lie?
So the lie is that women always want to have sex.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
That's what media shows. Media shows constantly. Like I said, you see in the movies all the time. Women got the hey big boy and all, and guys really think sometimes. And you, Barry, if I'm wrong, you let me know. Maybe, but guys are always taught like if you see a chick and she has some revealing clothes, it's not even she ain't got to reveal it. But if her shape is shown and she shows any type of the Instagram pictures when they toot up a little bit. Dang, you think in your mind when dudes see that? Oh, she don't go all the time. Well, that was just for that moment. But that's not what we was told. So when a dude say, man, I'll marry her, I'll take her home. He fell in love with that moment that she was in. But that was just a moment. So when he married that, and she see these, because we did a show about Facebook posts, social media sex versus real sex. And we were talking about how your girl, she made posts before y'all got married. Before y'all was dating, she posted, I'm mood, these sexual pictures, mood, I'm ready. I just can't, me just thinking about him putting me on the wall, whatever, all this type of stuff. So a dude fell for that thinking, this is real. But that was just the mood she was in. You didn't read the fine print. That was a mood. So now when you marry her thinking that she going to give you all these Facebook posts, and it be 1, 2, 3 times, and it finally die off, and you thinking, well, where's this person I married? And it's like, well, no, that's not her. We're not taught that, number one, that she's human.
That you have to have conversations. You have to be able to learn your wife. You have to understand your mate. You have to understand what turns her on, and it's going and give grace, as Barry was saying, at the fact that she's human. I think that most times we're not taught what women want and what women need. Or that want and need. And I keep bringing it back, so I might as well just get into it. Barry, I feel like you got something to say, so I'm gonna throw the alley to you. But it's 3 things that it's what men want and men need. It's 3 things that men need. They need the ego stroke, they need recreational development, and they need sex. Not want, but they need. And I'll explain all 3 of those. Women need intimacy. Conversation first. They need conversation, they need quality time, and they need intimacy. They need these things, not want. Well, what is ego? As we stated earlier, when a little boy jumps off, telling your man he's always good, telling your man he's the best. It was a study, over 60% of men cheat on their wives and their special person with the woman that just built them up. Not in the way that the woman thought she was building him up, but in the way that he wanted to be built up. Number 2, recreation development. When you see a guy playing a video game or watching a game or talking about football or talking about things that probably cleaning the house, fixing the car, things that probably don't interest you, you find yourself involved in that.
Trying to help.
That's called recreational development. Men need that. Last but not least, men need sex. We talked about that, where they have so many sperm. It's crazy. We're going to get into that a little bit. But now let's go to the woman. Women need conversation. It was a study done that women speak 25,000 words a day, maybe even more. Men only speak 1,700. So by the time...
Wow. I can believe it.
So by the time your husband has...
What you mean? Like conversation, like dude say, hey man, dude said this one time, a powerful example. He said, if it was an accident happened up the street, you say, what happened to the accident? It was a car speeding this way, another car cut it off, it hit, the thing broke down. It was crazy, man. People were standing out there. I think they died. I don't think nobody died.
Okay.
That jump was crazy, man. It was crazy. What y'all boys doing later today, man? We just gonna chill.
Right. All right.
Girls, what happened to the accident? Girl, let me tell you. First off, you know the pothole that was down there off of Mackinac? Girl, the one that used to be where Tava used to be. Tava that cheated on
okay.
Yeah, his son was never who I thought it was. Her mama talked about it. She had a bad attitude. She did have an attitude. I started to bust up there. But anyway, let me get back to it, girl. It was a pothole in the middle of the street. Right. I told them to do something about that pothole. Right. I said that pothole stay in the middle of that's gonna kill somebody.
Levante tripped it the other day.
He did. How Levante? How his mama? He getting his grades up. He getting his grades. He is still a little bit, but not too much. He was always slow.
Stop.
Women, they need that's that 25,000. I got it. So when a man gets home, he ready to just sit down and just chill.
Guess what I did today? No, those are the words she said to me. Like we don't men, and if a man is ignorant to that fact, he'll think she's nagging him when she's just being herself because she needs conversation. Number two, she needs quality
Detail.
time.
We just go into detail. We pay attention to all of the details. Men don't pay attention to the detail. You know what I'm saying? That's where the extra words come in at. Because we pay attention to all detail. I be like, you can ask a man, well, what were they talking about? I don't know. They were talking about, the gym or something. Man, he was like, no, you didn't get the whole story. You know what I'm saying? A woman, she gonna come with the whole story. Asking questions. I'm like, you didn't ask no questions. You didn't get you didn't find this out. You didn't know who was there. Well, who was there? Men, I don't know. I didn't ask all of that. And women ask questions, we get the details, you know what I'm saying? And so, that's women are more detailed than men are, period.
We can't get the details because our words done ran out.
Right.
Don't have any vocabulary. I'm done. I used all my words.
Right. All right, guys. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
They said lastly, women need intimacy. They don't need sex. And I think that's the biggest mistake.
We'll call it time.
I'm sorry, quality time. What is quality time? Quality time is when your girl is talking to you and you're not in your phone. Now I have to be, I have to be good about this because my wife will talk to me and I can tell her everything that she said, but I'm not listening. Quality time is when you pay attention to your mate. Like they need that. I have one daughter on the way. That's supposed to be coming in May 11th. And then I have two daughters that's 7 and 4. And they're daddy girls and they're always here. And I'm learning to give them quality time. Not because they want it, but they need it. Last but not least, there's intimacy. And intimacy is not sex. It's what happens after the sex. It's what happens that leads up to the sex. But guys are just ready for the sex. It's the holding her hand throughout the day, making her feel warm and bubbly. It's that, as they call it, the oven. Like, you can't, it's men, they say men are microwaves, women are ovens. When you really want to cook a meal, you have to preheat the oven. Come on. You can't just stick it in there. You got to preheat it. You got to warm it. And it's sometimes the old stove, you have to touch that. Try to touch it, I'm gonna talk about the stove. You try to touch it, see if it's ready. Oh, it ain't ready. You fool around try to push it, think you're gonna cook it, you'll be sad. But men are microwaves, we're ready for it. And I think that because when those three come together,
what do you mean by they come together?
When those three come together, it's a beautiful thing. If a woman, and normally it starts with the woman because the woman has a child. It's the subconscious nature. The woman is the subconscious, the man is the conscious. When a woman strokes a man's ego, he will immediately give her conversation because he's like, oh, I have to
look
talk
at my
to him.
man. He doing all these great things
today. Man, stop.
I see got your little hat and match your little. Okay. When you got this from?
I mean, how was your day today?
I mean, it was good. Now that you asked, I mean, we did do a little this and that. LaShawna be talking that child. I almost slapped her today.
Don't slap her, baby.
I said no.
And then after that, then she wants to. Now she'll probably. I want to watch this football game. You want to come watch it with me?
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
Or she just jumped like watching the game. She come in there and she really like who playing? So it's the Bears. Oh, so the Bears. Like you even do a little. I mean, you got to do all no deep research. But just get a little information to show that you know what you're doing. Like you say, who is that? Who is that? That's Odell Beckham. Didn't he do like 3? Didn't he do like 3 touchdowns, such and such? Just record is whatever. He'd be like, oh, you involved like that. So now that she's gave him recreational development, now he's gonna give her quality time. Yeah, he's gonna pay attention to her more. Well, if he pays attention to her more, she immediately gonna give him sex. She's immediate, and once she gives him that sex, it's not just gonna be sex with him. They're gonna make love. So now he's gonna give her intimacy, and those three go together. But most people don't know that. So people think that women need these things. They want these things, and oftentimes they need them.
That's good.
That is good. Okay, guys. Something that we do at the end is, because we are over our hour, something that we do at the end is we do last words. Okay. So these last words, today we're going to do a phrase. We're going to do a phrase to describe, and a phrase could just be like, 2 to 3 words. I won't do one word, Barry. But a phrase could be like 2 to 3 words just to describe knowing, that's not what I wrote. Hold on, wait a minute. Describe how to know. Here we go. Okay. A phrase to describe how to know when you're ready to be married. I'll go first. I already gave mine earlier. You die to yourself and you realize that you give to get. But you can't give, it's not giving selfishly with the expectation to get, but it's a give and take. Okay, next.
I'll go next and let the fellas go last. Mine is from Dr. Miles Monroe's book, Being a Whole Single Person. You got to be whole, happy, healthy. I think that's key to being in any healthy relationship. You being whole, happy, and healthy.
Okay, we're gonna have to revisit that topic because we're gonna have to revisit that topic on another.
Okay.
Yeah. Being whole and healthy. We're gonna have to revisit that because that was going through my mind about that. Okay, Erica.
I'm gonna tag on to Barry's. So it's that plus when you know you're ready to share your life.
That's good.
Okay.
I like that. Actually, it was something I like. It's Barry moment. I like what you said earlier. When you said when I'm at my understanding that when a person is at their worst, you're ready to carry and understand that that you two, both of you guys, I'm not always perfect, so neither will they. Neither will they be. So even regardless of what that looks like, I'm going in this understanding that it's going to be a process.
Right.
Marriage is a process. It's not a marathon. It's not a race. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Absolutely.
It's a marathon. Yeah.
Right.
I would say I believe I know you're ready to be married. Is that saying right?
Yeah.
How do you know when you're married? When you've dealt with your trauma and you haven't made it anybody else's.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's good.
That's a good one. All right, gentlemen, let us know how and where our viewers can find you.
Okay. Again, you can follow us at DUHVU, DUHVU. Who are you? First of all, I go by the name of Speak the Truth, giving you nothing but the Amere Thought. Y'all know me as fag, hat, shirt, shoes, everything got to match. If it don't match, it's not me. And you can find us on DUHVU, DUHVU, on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find us on DUHVU TV on YouTube.
That's
and
what's
our
up.
shows are Motivational Mondays, What's Up Wednesdays, and Foolishness Friday from 8:15 to about 8:45 Eastern.
That's what's up. Man. Thank you.
All right. And you can find us on, you can join our What's Love group on Facebook. Listen to the.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you can join the What's Love group on Facebook. Yeah, we can hear you. Mm-hmm. You can join the What's Love group on Facebook, and you can listen to us to the audio version. Huh? You can catch the
sound now. Y'all can hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
We can.
Okay. You can catch the audio version of the What's Love podcast on any podcast platform.
Oh my God.
You can check our live.
We can't hear y'all no more. Our sound went out.
Okay, we wrapping up anyway. We wrapping up.
Silent.
Okay. All right, you can check out. Okay, so you can join our What's Love podcast group on Facebook. All right, get in on all the discussion and everything that we have going on throughout the week. You can listen to the What's Love podcast on any platform that is the audio version of this. And you can check out all of our lives on our YouTube channel, and that is What's Love YouTube, What's Love podcast on YouTube. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thank you, fellas.
You for coming
Appreciate y'all, man.
and joining us for this hour today. All righty.
That was fun.
All right, guys. That is the night. See y'all later. Bye.
All right, love. See everybody later. Bye.
All right.
Thank you for having us.